What up, YouTube? I am standing in front of a vineyard you can see behind me, and this is an actual working production commercial wine vineyard in Puerto Rico, in the Caribbean, and y'all got to check this video out. Good morning, YouTube. We are up and moving. It's a little late. We had a real long night last night, and we are going to a vineyard today that we're about to get ready for. Real Babes is feeding and watering Thunder the horse. Phoebes is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And I'm trying to get that video out, but my iPad completely died, and now it won't take a charge. Come on in, since you guys want in so bad. You got a nice vineyard dress on.
Yeah, pretty.
I'm gonna wash all the mud off me.
It doesn't look pointy.
We are heading out. Oops, sorry. We are heading out to the vineyard. Just topped off the power steering fluid. And Phoebes and I are gonna take the Highlander in on Monday to K&N. Uh-oh. Booby malfunction? What's happening? Tell YouTube, what's the booby dilemma?
I showered and everything after I dealt with the horse, but then I wanted to let him graze for just a little bit, and then he got his war paint on me.
Oh. And then he got, okay. I think y'all look fabulous.
Thanks, babe. We know.
Okay. We know.
Did you start power steering in?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, these are all canepa trees. And from the owner of the finca, we got an education on some canepas, 2 different varieties, and how to tell the difference and the different characteristics of them. The Sotomayor?
What's Sato? It's like something.
No, Sotomayor
Sotomayor
was really sweet. Martinez. 681 is getting all geared up with all the kiosk and everything for the Sunday fun day. Okay, we are on the 2 and we're about to jump on the 10 again, heading up into the mountains. We're going to be passing through or close to UTUADO and over to Cialis, which is where the vineyard is. And I just looked at the directions. We are going to go over the dam, I believe, at Dos Bocas, which is that real big hydroelectric dam that you can drive over. And just in case, I got my Game Fowl Gaera hat on. Even though Phoebe says she's totally opposed to the Gaeras. Yeah. The Gaeras are awesome. I love this cut in the mountains here. We are off the 10 and we're heading down towards the river to take the old road. That's Dos Bocas there, the lake. And we are going down. We're actually going to be crossing the dam.
Continue straight to stay
Okay, we are about to drive right over the dam, y'all.
Look at that spiky wheels.
Someone's getting a tow. Here is the dam. There's the lake.
Wow.
And then you can see all the way down there to the river. And this is where we fish. He's can fishing right now. They're can fishing. We fish right off the dam here and we catch really cool fish. Big red devil cichlids and whatnot. Okay. We're getting closer. We're just about 30 minutes away, y'all. There's a little moped club. Right about 7:15 is sunset. They're like little miniature. We're talking about Samurais. Real Babes has one, and they're perfect for the island here because they're small. They're really, really good on fuel efficiency, and they go quite literally anywhere. I tried to video the river for y'all. We crossed the river and we are steadily climbing in elevation, going up the other side of the canyon, heading towards Cialis.
This is an awesome drive. Yeah. Nice.
There's a little waterfall for y'all, YouTube. We are definitely swimming in Jose Christine's pool later on today, and we might hit a waterfall. You never know. We never know. But y'all are always coming with us. We have just started coming into the outskirts of Cialis.
Yeah. Ooh, that looks good.
Yeah.
That looks real good.
We have not had breakfast. We are all getting hungry. Like very hungry. We are up high enough. We're in a lot of coffee farms, and this has got a super steep grade to it. And we're back on the smaller roads that I really, really enjoy. Another swimming hole.
Nice. Look at that up there.
No. I'm glad we y'all brought bikinis. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool, we all got swim gear. I see the big hole. We've got an extremely sharp turn. Okay, let's see if we can do it. Come on, 4 cylinders, Japanese Fury. Let's see what you got, Highlander. No match for the Montero. There we go. Here, say that for YouTube.
I have to put my bikini top on because I think my boobs are gonna fall out.
That'd be a decent safety measure.
Yeah, I got that.
We might have a pretty good view coming up here. I mean, scenic overlook, not boobs there, feet.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Look at that.
Beautiful, right? That fruit orchard way over there.
Is it fruit or is it cafe?
I don't know.
It's mostly coffee and plantains this high up.
Well, it's not plantains, I know that. Back on the tracks last night.
Yeah. Oh my god, we're up on a ridge line because here's the drop off again right here.
Yeah, we're on a spine right now. Your favorite type of road. I know, right? This is okay. This is okay. This is not too
I
bad.
think I can see the vineyard from here. The wooden building with, yeah. Vinos de Puerto Rico, wines of Puerto Rico. We are almost there. It is gorgeous up here.
Wow. This is great.
The road, not so much. Scenery, very, very gorgeous.
Okay, so there's parking right behind us.
Oh, there's parking forward too. I don't know. I'm gonna pull up. We are here. This is our first time here. I am very, very impressed so far. And I love the trellises with all the grapes, the vines, and we're actually going to be dining under the grape trellis. Oh, this is gorgeous. Oh my goodness. And I haven't even checked the view out. Oh, we can see the vineyards.
Here we go.
Y'all get a good one?
Yeah, I think so. Might have a thumbnail for you. We're just surrounded by photo ops here.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, seriously.
I am loving the Land Cruiser.
Photo ops, you know?
I am totally loving the Land Cruiser. I think we should do something like this to our house. It's very easily fortified. We can have a machine gun nest up top.
I'm not opposed.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I'm not opposed.
Sitting here wandering around, taking some pictures, and I just noticed all of these terrestrial orchids growing all the way up the tree. And I'll even get real close to them. Y'all can see the root. There's the orchid leaves. Doesn't look like anything's in bloom, but we have some fairly similar terrestrial orchids in South Carolina, actually.
We gotta go.
Okay. I think the tour is about to get started.
Oh, we're gonna go.
Oh, okay, sorry. Wow, I guess Phoebes and I are just messing up.
This first one is
Merlot.
Oh.
And then you're not drinking, right?
I am gonna drink. Gracias.
This is such a great idea. I feel bad. Jose and Christine aren't here yet.
They're running late.
Yeah.
What are y'all thinking so far?
I think this is amazing. I think this is a great idea.
Have you given
Jose.
the wine a shot yet?
No. That's nice. It's
Is
just
it?
like juice. It is good. It's nice and mild. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
It's got a pretty heavy nose on it. Very light. Very, very, very light for a cab.
Oh, it's a Merlot.
Yeah, or Merlot, yeah. Even lighter then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real Babes is a huge fan of ensalada de granos. And that is basically ensalada de granos with truffle oil.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. It has like a really nutty kind of...
Yeah, very impressive.
Sorry. So the difference will be, can you come
4 wine with 3 courses of food. Important, all the wine that you will have today are made here by us, and the grape that we're going to see in the vineyards are used in the wine that we're making. That's very important to mention because grapes depend on the weather, and different weather produce different grapes, and through the tour we will be explaining reasons why grapes don't grow usually in Puerto Rico and how the grape that we produce allow me to produce a different wine. For example, this one is a Merlot hybrid. That one is 12.5% alcohol, 6 months in French oak. It produces a wine that starts strong, have a lot of smell, strong flavors in the nose, and it will be different how it starts in the nose and the flavors that you will have in the mouth.
Yeah, it's got a very strong nose and it's real mellow on the palate.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that is interesting because grapes here have different qualities due to the weather. For example, we produce less acidity, and due to the acidity we produce less sugar. That's why that wine have 12% alcohol and not 14, because the weather does not allow me go up to 14. But then when we elaborate and we make the wine, we're thinking in the hot climate that have Puerto Rico, so we want to make something that's smooth, fruity, fresh, and that's how we are making the wine. It's only a 6 months in French oak that ends the wine, but not reinforce it. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How about the beans? The color is way different of traditional Pinot Grillo, and the reason is that we go through a different process that allow the juice to be in contact with the pulp and the skin. That's called maceration, and what it does is all the flavor within the fruit transferred to the juice. Traditional wine does not make that because you have to have in account the time of distribution and how the wine is stable. White wines are translucent because you harvest the grape, you crush it, but you only get the juice, and that gives you a high acidity, high alcohol wine that survives with time. What protects the wine is alcohol, acidity, and tannins. With the white grape, you need high alcohol and high acidity. For us, we do not have high alcohol and high acidity, and we want to make fruity wine. To achieve that, we expose to the pulp and to the skin all the flavor transfer, but through the process, you move it in the movement, the oxygen oxidate the juice, and you end up with a golden wine, but it will be shorter lifespan, so you have to drink it fast. But when you taste it, it's really fruity, really fresh.
Nice.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
She will be with you in a minute.
Thank you.
This place 20 years ago. And then there's always something more. Businessman here.
I don't know for sure, but I think around 10 years.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I think. He's gonna explain it anyway, so.
Okay, cool. Day to day, what you anticipate, which is smart, you know.
Real sweet nose on the Pinot Grigio. A good bit more acidic than I was expecting. What do y'all think of the Pinot?
I like it.
I like it. I like the Merlot better.
Yeah, I did too. That was real pleasant on the palate.
Yeah. Surprisingly.
What up?
Hey.
How y'all doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Hello,
Good seeing ya.
What's going on?
Good seeing you, Mo.
Huh?
Good to see you. I was gonna say, you look fabulous.
The GPS put us on a route.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! It knew we had the 4x4 today, so it was like, take this route.
Phoebes, Christine, Jose.
Hello.
Hey, Phoebe.
Pleasure to meet you.
¿Todo bien? ¿Y tú?
Oh, good.
Good, good.
Okay, so
This place is fabulous.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
Great idea.
yeah, we figured we've been wanting to come here. We're like, so let's just do it.
Let's just do it. Yeah.
Closer to Wally, baby.
All right, I'll say closer to Wally. There we go.
Oh, we did that off-road thing with Waldy's off-road.
I saw.
Yeah, y'all need to go with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
La única que es peligrosa es una
Fuzzy,
gata que
fuzzy.
anda por ahí. Si no es comida, no hay.
We are starting the vineyard tour now.
Yes. Going to explain the craziness of making wine in Puerto Rico.
I can imagine it's very challenging.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's different. So, okay, we have everybody here. We're going to start the English part of the tour. The tour has 3 parts. We start here explaining the grape and how it grows, how the weather affects the grape that we produce. Then we're going to the bodega and we're going to explain the process of making the wine. And then we walk through the vineyards and explain some limitations that we have in the vineyards that are very interesting. Starting with the grape, it's important to mention that grapes have a cycle through the year that repeats constantly. Every year you're going to start the same process again. Your cycle starts after the harvest. When you take all the grapes from the vineyard, the plant will start to lose the leaves, so everything is going to start falling, and that's when you know that your year just started. The falling of the leaves happens due to a transition where all the energy of the plants, it's moving from the farther part of the plant through all the arms, and it's going to concentrate in the root area. When the leaves fall, it's because everything empties, you don't have energy, you don't have anything in the plant, and there is nothing to sustain, and it falls. That's very important to understand because that transition will start the year with a rest where all the energy of the plant will be concentrated at the root system. But what happens is that every year when all the energy is going down, there is a moment where you don't have space to accumulate all the resin of the plant, and that roots needs to make additional rooting, and it will penetrate more in the floor, and that's where the plant produces more roots and enhance the absorption of nutrients for the next year. And that's why people say that wine gets better with the years of the vineyard, and it's because this cycle that every year the plants needs to grow additional rooting, but the rooting impact your next harvest, and this will repeat constantly.
How old is this tree?
This one is around 8 years. That one is around 12 years. Once that happens, that all the energy finish to accumulate in the root system, everything dries, you think that the plant dies, and most people who plant grapes in their house at this moment tell you, I have this pretty plant and it dries, and what do you do? I cut it and then you kill it.
Yeah.
But if you wait, it will wake up again. What we do at this moment is we do the maintenance in the vineyard. And the main maintenance, or the more important maintenance in the vineyard, is what we know as the pruning, where you clean the plant and you eliminate all the new growth from last year. And the pruning, what you want is to get to the distances where that plant produces the best grapes. Every year you will produce new growth, and you, with the pruning, remove them, and you get back to your original plant. For example, for us, the pruning, you start with your body, where you clean everything that grows there. And the reason of that is that Puerto Rico has a lot of humidity. You want that plant as clean as possible and farther from the ground, so the wind goes through and remove your humidity. Then you go to your arms, where you start cleaning everything, where you find that you already leave additional stems where you will clean them, but they will have specific cuts. This is known like a thumb. And those thumbs are for improve your growing and your production of grape for next year. At the end, you finish cleaning the plant and your last cut is right here. And for a production plant, this is the definition of a production plant in the vineyard. These are not for production. These plants transition from production to pergola. And what the pergola does is that you allow additional growth to the plant to get to the roof, and to the roof you allow through the pruning to grow additional leaves, because the pergola produces shadow, and you put tables below the pergola and you drink the wine in a fresh area. But when you allow the plant to transition to pergola, the grapes that the pergola produce does not work for wine. They are poison. No, they are not poison. They don't work for wine because the nutrients that were going to be concentrated in a defined area now are diluted through the plant and producing leaf and producing additional growth, and the nutrients that get to the cluster does not have enough energy to produce quality grapes, and they are not good enough to produce wine from it. You can eat them, you can make other things with it, but they look pretty and people look at them and take selfie, and that's why we have it. Todo lo que es pérgola es para chulería. Se puede comer y tirar selfie con ella, pero para mí no. Depende del nivel de alcoholismo, porque se puede hacer algo, pero no va a ser bueno. Va a tener azúcar, pero no lo suficiente. That new growth will happen at the cuttings. Where you cut the plants, you will have the starting point for your growth, starting the farthest away to the closest to the root system. And that's why the thumbs are so important, because the thumbs allow you to have cutting points closer to your root system, but also allow you to have more cutting points concentrated in an area, producing maximum quantity of grapes, but also the best quality of grapes. It's a balance between quantity and quality defined by that space. You will have these baby grapes right there starting to spread, but they will start to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and all these start to elongate, and they will get to a point where the flower happens right here. This is not grapes, this is the flower cluster that hasn't opened yet. From this, you will open the flower and you will show the petals. Right here you have petals, right here. Those petals, once they open, look at this pretty thing here. Those petals are sweet, and they will bring the bees, they will bring the wasp, they will bring the ants, that they will get to those flowers and eat them because they want the sugar. I want that, because they, with their wings and with their feet, they move the pollen and happen to make the pollination of the grape, and then they will start growing. Once they start growing, you will see small grapes starting to fill, and they will continue to grow slowly up to the point that they cannot grow anymore. This is one of the first things that is very interesting, because grapes does not change color in the time where they are growing. They change color once they finish growing. They will start producing sugar, and due to the production of sugar, they will change the color. And this is a tricky thing to understand. In the growing season, they will produce the juice, they will produce the pulp, but they will increase the amount of acidity that the grape has internal. Once it stops growing, you will have the maximum amount of acidity. The grape is mature, and it will start to produce the sugar and to change color. And this is right here, what you see, it's called the embero. That is the transition where those grapes start to change color. They are not green anymore, they will start to get pink and then purple. The embero is one of the most important times in the year because it's the maximum amount of acidity through the year. From then, you will concentrate the sugar content. But to produce sugar, you need acidity because the grape will consume the acidity and will produce sugar. That's one of the reasons why wineries are always in a specific places, closest to the 40th latitude. Because to produce acidity, you need changes in temperature, cold nights, hot days. The more different, the higher the acidity. Close to the 40th latitude, you have the maximum difference, and it will produce the maximum acidity in the grape. And that's one of the most reasons that vineyards are always close to the 40th latitude. If you have enough acidity, you will allow the ripeness of the grape up to the point where you will have enough sugar to produce the desired alcohol level. Normally it's around 14%. But you need to have enough acidity to get to that sugar content, but then have enough to be able to mature the wine. To be able to make a wine that have aging, you need high alcohol, you need high acidity, and you need tannins that are in the skin. That's one of the reasons that they say that Puerto Rico cannot produce wine. And it's because we are not in a 40th latitude. We are in an 18th latitude. We're way far. But at 18th latitude, we are in a mountain at 1,800 feet. So we have changes in temperature, but are lower. So we produce less acidity than most of wineries. And when we have them better, we need to measure the maximum amount of acidity, and then we start measuring how the sugar is produced and how the acidity is reducing, because we will get to a point when we cannot go further. Most of our wine will have around 12% alcohol. But we harvest not because we reach the alcohol level. We harvest because we reach our limit in consumption of acidity. We are not in a climate where we can go higher, because then the wine will stop tasting like a wine and it will start tasting like a rum. But with 12%, we consume most of the acidity that have the grape, and that gives us wines with lower alcohol but without acidity to allow the aging. And that's the main reason that they say that Puerto Rico cannot grow grape, because they don't compete in the market. For this project does not start like an idea that we're going to produce wine and sell it. This project started because we start growing the vineyard because we want to drink alcohol. We started this project in 2010. We bought this farm, and the idea was to have a property in the mountain to go the weekends. We did not know nothing about grapes. The idea of the farm was to have a place where we reset the system and we get fresh Monday morning, we go to our work and we have something different and we are fresh to start over. When we bought the farm, we had this situation that big farm costs less than small farms. We were looking for half-acre land and we end up with 20 acres. 20 acres is a lot, but we didn't know. We bought the farm because it costs less. Once we start exploring the farm, we find that we have a lot of products that we can consume, and we start consuming those products in the weekends, and with time we start questioning what else can we grow. One of the things what we did was make list of consumption to see what we can add of the things that we consume, and we were 25-year guys, just graduated from engineering, so we drink a lot of alcohol. The most alcohol that we drink was wine. And we say, my wife is a chemistry engineer, I'm a mechanical engineer, we can make alcohol. So let's grow some grapes and make our own wine. And then people start saying, hey, grapes don't grow in Puerto Rico. And we ask why they don't grow. Because when you travel, you saw vineyards everywhere. But there are reasons. The first thing that we went to Google and we say, how to grow grapes in Puerto Rico? Very easy. And we find that we have a vineyard in Guanica. And that vineyard, we're producing wine 25 years before us. and we get there and we see what they were doing, and that was kind of the starting point because we find that they do grow grapes in Puerto Rico, but they are different. Once we find out that grapes do grow, we start experimenting of what grapes we can grow. And we spent 2 years making ourselves experts in how to kill grapes. Because we kill every grape that we bring here dies. But with time, we find out why they were dying, and we start modifying, and we start producing grapes and producing wine. And with time, we find that we can grow grapes in Puerto Rico, but we have limitations. Due to the limitation is the reasoning of they cannot be produced, because most of the limitation is based in if you're establishing a vineyard to sell the wine, it's complicated because most of the wine will have criteria that you cannot reach. But for self consumption, you can make wine differently. And that's how this project started. We understand that we have limitations, and due to that limitation, we always will be producing lower alcohol wines, but most of our wine will be without the possibility of aging, because we consume most of the acidity in the ripening of the grape. So here we're going to explain how we make the wine. And the first thing that happens in the vineyard is once you harvest, all the grape in the harvest enter to the room and we start the process. All the grape, the first thing that happens is that once you enter in the rooms, you will go through these machines that are the crushers or the clusters.
So the grapes were here, or you planted the grapes when you bought?
No, I planted.
Okay.
I spent 2 years bringing grapes, killing most of it, until we find out what grape survives. Once you crush the grapes, you will have, the first thing that this machine does is that the cluster that you harvest, you will remove the woody part that is the stem, and once the stem is removed, you will get grape like these ones that the machine also will crush them. This is one of the things that is important to say, that this substitutes the stepping of the grape that you see in most of the movies. Nobody steps in the grape.
That changes it for me. I wanted it with the feet.
And there is a thing. 20, 40 years ago, the vendimia was a point in the year where all the community get together and young people know each other, and it was something social where all the community get together. Now, when you have tons of grapes getting from the vineyard, young guys does not want to step on the grape. They have technology, they meet people with the phone. So you need a thing to produce the juice as soon as possible and as effective as possible, and you don't have enough feet to do the work. So you need to change your process and improve with this type of machine. This is the crusher, and you will crush the grapes. One of the things is that any of you have ever taken out the skin of a grape and get with the pulp? What is the color of the pulp?
It's clear, like translucent.
It's translucent, it's clear. Yes? Okay, that's important. The grape inside is translucent. And that's important to understand, because even if the grape is red, the pulp always will be translucent. But more important, the juice that the pulp produces is translucent, does not have color. So when I crush a red grape, I have 3 options to make wine. And the first option is a white wine, because the juice that the crusher produces is translucent, and if I only take the juice and I go to fermentation, I will end up with a white wine even if the grape is red. That's my first option. The other 2 options, I will take everything that was crushed. Pulp, juice, skin, and I will go to maceración. And the maceración, what it does is the color that is within the skin will transfer to the juice. And I have two different options of wines through maceración. The first option is a rosé that you allow the skin be a short period of time in contact with the skin, the juice in the skin. And the red wine, you will allow more exposure to the skin, and then the color get deeper, but also the flavors. So you will have a white wine with high acidity and high alcohol essence, a rosé that it will have high acidity, high alcohol essence, but some color, and then a red wine that it will have the full body. The difference between a white wine and a rosé is the exposure of the skin, but in flavor is almost the same. That's why rosé is being called, because it has high acidity and high alcohol.
Perdóname, ¿eso en Italia?
Tannin wine due to the color, because the high tannin is due to high exposure to the skin, and you will have a deeper color. And that's why experts, when they serve the wine, they start looking and evaluating, because they can predict what is coming to the mouth due to the color. That's the three different wines with the same grapes. Once you have the maceración that happened in tank 1 and tank 2, you will filter. And to filter, you will get to machines like these ones that are the pressing. You will put a cheesecloth inside, and you will transfer all the material inside. Once you start applying pressure, all the solids will get within the press, and the juice will be dripping in the walls, and you will collect them at the bottom. At this point, you have a great high sugar juice, like a Welch. But one of the things that you have to measure here is how much sugar does that juice concentrate. That's important because now we're going to tank 3 and tank 4 to the fermentation. And the fermentation, what it does, you will add yeast to the juice, and the yeast eat the sugar and produce alcohol. One important thing here, when you produce alcohol, you need sugar. And the yeast can only produce alcohol where the sugar is present. Most of you have heard the term dry wine. And dry wine is a very important definition, because when you go to a restaurant and they let you know you will drink a dry wine, and you ask what is a dry wine, they always tell you that it's a wine without residual sugar. But that's interesting, because when you make the fermentation, the yeast will start eating the sugar, and it will transfer and convert it to alcohol. But they will get a point where the yeast eat all the sugar, and there is no more sugar in the tank, and you get the maximum amount of alcohol with no residual sugar. And that's a dry wine, because there is no sugar, because the yeast eat it and produce the maximum amount of alcohol. That's important because dry wine always will have an effect of burning or heating you. And most of the wine is dry because the climate where you're making that wine is cold. You're not thinking that that bottle will get to Puerto Rico to 120 degrees in the summer. You're thinking in the under 20 of the winter. You want to drink something that heat you up and make you feel well. But we are thinking in the 120s. So once I get the juice, I measure the sugar because I will not go to dry. I measure the sugar to be able to predict the maximum amount of alcohol for meal. And then in fermentation, we will monitor the yeast, and they will stop before it gets to dry. If we have 13% in presence of potential sugar, we will get to 12. And that difference is residual sugar that adds fruitiness to the wine. And that's why our wine is fresh and it's not burning like traditional dry wines. And once the wine is in the barrel, the wood start making the progress of evolving the wine. One of the things that happen here is that inside the barrel, you will have the wine, so the internal surface of the barrel is the one who makes the effect. That's important because if you open the barrel, you will find pores inside, and those pores will trap the primary alcohols that you want to remove, and it will get to a point that due to capillarity of the barrel, it will saturate those alcohols inside the barrels. Once they are saturated, your wine gets better. And you taste it and it's smooth because you remove everything that you want and it gets to the wood. And then the wine, it gets better. That it will reduce the diameter up to the point where it gets injected to the bottle, and then it seals. Once the cork in, expand and seal the wine inside to protect from the oxygen. You will have 3 things that damage the wine once it's in the bottle. You have oxygen, you have the light, that's why the bottle is green, and you have the heat. You need a cold space to store it. In Puerto Rico, there is no closet cold enough. So you need a refrigerator or a wine refrigerator because it will damage.
Oh, I am so impressed with today. Yesterday we were 4-wheeling on the coast, and today we're touring a vineyard in some very mild weather and a little bit of light rain.
Puerto Rico has it all.
Yeah.
It really does. We were talking about that last night, how many different greens there are.
To that other hill are production vineyards. The difference between a production vineyard and a pergola is that these grapes will have the dimension where the energy goes closer to the clusters, and all the energy will be concentrated in the cluster that will be growth. Since the energy is concentrated, the quality of the grape will be higher, and that grape works for the wine that we're making, and not as the pergola that grape is only for show. One of the things that we need to mention is that grapes are very susceptible to rain and are very susceptible to humidity. And that's one of the reasons that people think that grapes don't grow in Puerto Rico. And it's due to the rainfall and to the humidity that we have in the island. The rainfall is very interesting because most of the vineyards are planted in plains. When you get a lot of rains, what happens is the water gets accumulated in the root system, and you have rotting, and you have fungal problems due to the excess of water. For us, we got higher rainfall, but we don't have plains, we have hills. And the rain and the water drops immediately, and we don't have issue with the accumulation of the water because we have the angle, so water drops. The thing that does affect us is the humidity that we have in the air. And that's one of the most important reasons that we don't have more vineyards in Puerto Rico. Because I mentioned before that we spent 2 years killing grapes at the beginning of this project. And the main reason that we killed most of the grapes those first years were because we copied the design of a vineyard of another region. Because we didn't know nothing about grape, and we say the experts do it this way, and we're going to copy it because they are the ones who know. And we find out that most of the vineyards, when they establish the lines and the vineyards, they look for 2 things. Changes in temperature to produce high acidity, high alcohol, and the concept of the maturing of the wine, but they also look for dry places where you have lower humidity in the air, and the reason is because you can plant grapes closer together. If you plant grapes closer together, you end up with more wine per acre, and your cost goes down because you need to be competitive in a way competitive market. You need to be cost effective. That's the main reason that this project does not replicate, because when you find out that Puerto Rico have higher content in the humidity of the air, you find out that plants rot. And the reason they rot is if you put it too close together, you will accumulate the humidity and the wind does not go through, and that's what happened with us. We plant the grapes incorrectly. We put it too close together and they start dying. And we spent 2 years killing the grapes, but 2 years after we say, hey, they don't grow, we're finished, we try, they don't grow, and we stop. But we stop the replanting of the grape, and they continue dying. But they get to a point so they separate, and the wind goes through, and the humidity does not kill them, and at some point we find that we need a distance big enough so the wind goes through, but we end up with less plant per acre, and thus make the project is not cost effective for distribution or to compete in a market because it's too expensive. But the thing is that we were not planting grape for selling. We were planting grape for drinking, and we have 20 acres that we can grow. And the idea was, if we can produce enough to supply our demand, we're happy. And we make the most inefficient vineyard in the world. But it was enough to be able to produce a wine for consumption with some limitation like acidity and maturing of the grape. But at the beginning, we don't care. We were making alcohol, and that was for consumption. But the thing about this project is things change in 2019 because people find out that we were making alcohol. And people in Puerto Rico are very interested in the alcohol making. And they start asking to visit, and we say like, no, this is my wine, I will not share. And 9 years after, we start thinking about it, and we make one open house. And the idea was we're going to make one open house to get the people who spend 2 years asking, you will get here, you will drink 2 wines, bad wines, almost pitorro. And you will taste if you never ask again, and you leave me alone. And they get here, and they get drunk with 2 glasses. But the thing was, we get around 20 people. They drink the wine, they saw the vineyards that we were planting, and they like it, and they share the experience in the media, in Facebook and Instagram. 2 weeks after that, we have 100 people asking to visit, and we were like, what in the hell?
What happened?
What happened here? We are not winemakers, we are not connoisseur, studied in the subject. We are 2 engineers that buy a mountain property to get drunk in the weekends, and people want to get drunk with us, so let's be it. And we start open once per month. The thing was that we thought that it would go slowly, and people were like, I drink, it's nice, and that's it. And at some point, we will be free. People get bigger and bigger, more people, and we were like, wait, this is a business. But the reason that this winery is possible is not because it's cost effective selling the bottle. This winery is possible because people get interest, and we manage to offer experience like tours, like tasting, like weddings and things that make value for the vineyards and allows to reinvest in the vineyards, and the cycle completes. But it's different of a traditional winery that they define the vineyard to compete in a market, and then they do the other things. This was different. The people and the experience is what does do this vineyard possible, not the selling of the wine. We do not sell wine because all the wine that we produce is drink here. We don't have too much wine, so the experience is what it matters. You can buy wine here, but we don't distribute because we don't have enough. Any question? In the vineyard, to be able to control plagues. And the thing is that roses and grapes have most of the plagues are similar, but the plague always get to the roses first. And the thing is that you plant roses because the rose that is healthy produce flower. If a plague is attacking a rose, they don't produce flower, and you will see the rose deteriorating and dying, but it announces when the plague arrives, and it's until the roses died that it jumps to the vineyard. So it gives you a point to identify it and time to evaluate and control before it goes to the vineyard. That's the... Yo lo aprendí porque en el mundo del vino, si tú visitas viñedos y ves réplicas, tú ves rosas. And it's important to mention that grapes the grape have a 4-year period where the plant does not produce a good grape that you can use for wine. It takes 4 years to be able to harvest the grapes and use it for wine. And the reason is that the plant is too young, does not have enough fruit, and the grape that it produces does not have the quality that you need. And to be able to harvest the grape, what you do is in the pruning season, you give the form to the plant. And this is one of the most interesting parts. The first year you will plant the grape in the soil and it will produce arms, leaves, and a lot of things. But when it goes to sleep, it will lose all the leaves and you will cut that plant at the distance where you want to separate the plant from the floor. I mentioned before that the grapes always grows the new leaves where you cut it. So the first year you will cut at the distance where you want to separate from the floor. The second year it will grow and it will produce new arm, new leaves, and when finish the cycle, you will cut the plant and you will allow the strongest arm and you will put it horizontal. That arm will lose the leaves and then you cut it at the distance between each plant. It will lose everything, but you end the second year with the first year body and with the second year the fine arm. The third year, when the plant wake up, since it's horizontal, it will grow everything vertically. And then you will get the toms. Now the third year you have the definition of your production plant with a defined body, a defined arm, and each tom. The plant is ready, and the fourth year you will harvest the grape that the plant produces because you have the effective way so the nutrients go through the plant and concentrate in the cluster that produce each tom. But here is where the magic happens. From the 4th year to 50 years, your plant does not change form. Your pruning changes to production, and what you do is you cut everything that is not main body, arm, or toms. Every new growth, you cut it and you get back to the defined plant. But the root system, you cannot control the root system. So every year those roots go deeper and your plant stay the same. And then is when the wine gets better with time, because you have more roots concentrating the nutrients in the grape that is producing the plant, and every year you get better wine because you have the same dimension.
So that's where that saying came.
Then you have to take decisions, because if you produce less, you need to go higher in price. But the question is, my market allows me to go higher? If the market allows it, you keep the plants and you higher the price. But if your market say, no, I cannot go higher, so I will remove the old plants and start over again, starting with the 4th year of pruning and starting the cycle again. And that's one of the reasons that there are so many labels, because most of the vineyard have at least 3 to 4 labels, because the young grapes will be harvested alone and you will produce a wine young to lower your cost. It will go to a younger market, less expensive market, but then you will have plants 20, 25, 35, higher quality. You will produce from those other grapes better wines, higher price and we'll target different markets. And the idea is you use every aspect that you can make different wines in your vineyard to diversify your options. And that's why most of the factors that affect the winery, you will be using it to diversify.
Oh, the salmon looks really good.
It's got the butter too.
Jose and Christine both did salmon. What did you end up doing?
I did the fillet.
Oh, so did Phoebes.
And you did
And
too.
so did I. We all got steak.
I still get everybody.
Oh, that fillet looks good. That rosemary smells so good. I'm excited.
Seriously, we would. But maybe, you never know. Why? What are you plotting in your mind? I know you already.
Hit the pool.
That's how well I know you already.
Hitting the pool? Why don't we hit a charcoal or
Well, I was gonna say waterfalls,
new one
pool,
by Finding
anything. You know?
Oh, the cheesecake looks awesome.
So in each napkin there are 2 spoons.
Okay.
Is that like a crumble top?
Of course.
Presentation on that. You got
I know.
crisscross
I did that
on the
like that,
top.
so
I don't know what this is right here, or these
There's like Merlot
two.
jelly and Chardonnay.
Oh.
Merlot jelly and there's
Oh,
a
Merlot
Chardonnay
jelly,
something.
and then a Chardonnay drizzle. Alright.
Salud. This is a spiced mead. And for those of y'all unfamiliar, mead is basically honey and yeast fermented. Wow, that's very, very, very light for a mead. Oh, it finishes with the clove and everything.
That's why she said
Yeah.
holidays. Totally for the
It
holidays.
is like the holidays, yeah. I am actually gonna wrap this video up right here. The tour was extremely extensive. We learned so much. And Manuel was an incredible, just absolute wealth of knowledge when it came to the ins and outs of growing grapes in a tropical environment like here in the Caribbean. And I was just so impressed with the content that this is gonna be the outro. And not sure what we're doing after this. Whatever it is, y'all are coming with us. Love y'all, and I will drop a link and everything y'all need to get here in the description.